Do 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 do. You're listening to Easy Like a Sunday Morn. I'm your host, Shane Lockwood, and this is episode 31. And it's a live show because it's the 26th of October 2014, and this is a live show because I am out at Port MacDonnell. That's Port space MacDonnell, Port MacDonnell, MacDonnell. Just double checking. Port MacDonnell in South Australia, and it's just below Mount Gambier, which is very close to the border between South Australia and Victoria. So the two major capital cities are Adelaide and Melbourne, but in between you've got Mount Gambier. 40 kilometres to the south you've got Port MacDonnell, and it's technically the most southerly point on the Australian mainland. So ignoring Tasmania, Port MacDonnell is the most southerly point in Australia. And the interesting thing is that very often this place is 10 degrees cooler than the rest of Adelaide. And I'm here for last night was a party for my father's wife, who turned 59, so happy birthday, Joan, and I hope you enjoyed the party last night. We danced and danced and danced until 4:30 this morning. But before I get into all that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who listens each and every week, and to those who are listening to this for the very first time. Welcome aboard. And thank you to everybody listening to this on iHeartRadio. I appreciate it a lot. I'm getting the statistics for iHeartRadio as well, and not the demographics so much of like who's listening, but just the listening figures, and they're really, really impressive. And I want to say thank you for that. There's a delay of like a day or two with the statistics. So initially you think, oh, nobody's listened today, and then you wait and you wait and you wait, and then you find out that there was 10 more people listening than what you originally expected. So that's always fantastic. Now, the reason this is a live show, and therefore there's no intro music or outro music or anything like that, and there will be a code word, stay tuned for that. What's happened is that I'm down at Port MacDonnell, and even though the internet speed is a lot faster down here than what I thought it would be, in fact it's twice as fast as my internet at home, because they've got the NBN down here, which is amazing, the National Broadband Network. But the problem that I have is that the battery on my little netbook has finally given up the ghost. Rather frustrating, but they are fairly cheap to replace the battery on them, and the thing needed an upgrade and whatever else. But my dad's going to be so annoyed because I recorded a show for about 20 minutes, and what had happened was his wife called me out and said, oh, can you help my father to put away some trestle tables and whatever else. So I stopped the show, ran out and did whatever I had to do, then went and had some lunch, and by the time I came back, the battery on the little notebook was dead. And by dead I mean it doesn't hold a charge. I've dropped the netbook one too many times, and if a battery, and you've got to do this with your mobile phones and things like that as well, you've got to let them run out of power every so often, like once a week or so, because if you're only letting the top half of the battery charge, the bottom half of the battery tends to corrode. And what I'd done with the netbook is because I've dropped it a few times, I must have damaged the battery. And so all of a sudden you can only charge to 80%, and then to 50%, then to 40%, 20%, 10%, 5%. Now, I'd had a 10% for a long time, and I came back from doing what I wanted to do, and it was plugged in. It was receiving power, but it still said, "Oh no, sorry, your battery's at 5%. You will have to recharge. I need some power. And so it finally gave up the ghost. Rather annoying, because rather luckily, I've just finished watching today's episode of Doctor Who, which was very, very good. I wasn't as good as last week's, which was amazing. However, the promo for next week's show is a lead up to the finale. It's a two-part finale, Doctor Who this time, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And if you can hear voices in the background, it's because there's people doing stuff, and you can imagine there'd be every distraction under the sun to try and stop me from doing this radio program. But it's live, and I've got to keep going. You know, that was 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes before people started interrupting me. How annoying is that? Normally I'll record at home, and I can stop, re-record, I can control certain environments. But because there are people that, even though they're retired, everything has to be done right now, they have to annoy me. But yeah, it looks like there's a mystery about Clara and her origins that may be solved, and we find out about Missy, because she says to the Doctor, "You know who I am," and I think she's been spying on the Doctor for a long, long time. And I think that she's been, nudging Clara closer to the Doctor for a long, long time as well. Is Clara a manifestation of the Great Intelligence? Or is Missy part of the Great Intelligence? Maybe it has nothing to do with the Great Intelligence. But I'm looking forward to next week's show, and I hope you are too. What's going on? What else has happened? I want to say thank you to Benny, who listens every week, Smiler Tyler, Mary, and Bearche889 on YouTube. He listens each and every week. I know that sometimes he gets behind, but that's okay. The purpose of the show is not necessarily for me to convey information as such. It's so that you guys can sit back, relax, and just enjoy your Sunday morning, your Sunday afternoon. This show is live, 1:38 p.m. on Sunday, 26th of October. And luckily, I can record this because the battery in my netbook died. What a pain in the bum. Because my father wanted to look at the netbook and what he could do to speed it up, and there's always something. There's always something. But yeah, thank you guys for listening each and every week. And I want to say thank you to those who are listening for the very first time. And thank you to all those who are listening through iHeartRadio, because, like I mentioned before, the statistics, pretty much my listening figures have doubled since being incorporated into iHeartRadio. And not only that, someone is listening to this podcast, and I don't know which episodes, but people are listening to this podcast every day, and they've done so for the last 2 weeks. So it's taken a little bit of time. There'd be like a run of about 5 days before there'll be 0 listens, and now people are listening to this every day. So that's fantastic. Not only that, it's fairly easy. It's easier than a Sunday morning to do your own podcast. If you have a mobile phone, all you have to do is download a program called Spreaker, and the app has all the functionality you need to be able to record a show. You don't need to record the show live. You can record it beforehand. If you plug in your headphones, you can also use different special effects without having to pause the microphone. And how else was that? It's absolutely fantastic. That's enough. Oh no, it's enough. It's enough. It's enough. It's enough. So yeah, as there was another high school shooting in the United States, which unfortunately is rather tragic. I think the last one was 6 months ago, and this time was a high school. And you think, what's going on with these kids that they feel the need to be able to do this? And I don't necessarily blame the kids themselves, although they're the people that need to take responsibility for their actions. But what are parents doing? What are teachers doing? What is society doing to address these issues? But yeah, excuse the noise. You can imagine every distraction under the sun. This is a live radio broadcast. It's turning into a nightmare. But thank you for tuning in each and every week. I do have a code word for those who managed to stick around this long. 13 minutes. So it's pretty much every 7 minutes someone has to be doing something to annoy me. Jeez, this is why I record at home. I've been here since Wednesday, and the funny thing about South Australia, the weather in South Australia, is you can have a really hot day, say 32 degrees Celsius, right? And you could drive to, say, a place called Keith, a town called Keith, and which we did, and the mercury hit 35 degrees Celsius. Then you come down to Port Mac, and it's 17 degrees Celsius. So more than half the temperature drop. More than half the temperature drop. And it gets quite cold down here. So if you're planning a holiday down here, for those of you listening in Australia, please do bring sweaters and jumpers and that sort of stuff, regardless of the time of year, because it can get quite cold at night. And where I'm staying it's surrounded by farmland, so there's horses, sheep, cows, etc. And I just thought I'd calm down a little bit. I apologise once again for this being a rambling show. Otherwise there'd be no show. Yeah, exactly, the no show. I can't believe that now was when the battery decided to die. I should have ordered a replacement battery, and I was going to do it a couple of weeks ago, but a couple of weeks ago I decided to get my taxes done, because there is a threshold. Like, you've got to have your taxes done before the end of October. Otherwise, they start to get a little bit annoyed. And so I spent the last of my pennies paying an accountant to do my tax. And it's a good thing I did, because he maximised my return. And please excuse that. Please excuse that. But anyway, yeah, once again I apologise for the distractions and stuff in the background. See, I can't turn the microphone off because people talking. Please excuse this. Like this. Of course, I'm recording this in a shed on my mobile phone. For those of you that don't know, most of you would have switched off by now. This is very unprofessional, but the commitment was to have a show every week. Is to have a show every week, and I'm recording this in a shed, and there are people that you've got to be. Sorry about that, I had to wait for them to pass. They're talking way too loudly. They don't know that I'm doing this. And you can bet your bottom dollar, as soon as I said, oh, I'm going to be doing this, they'd all be curious. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then proceed to make even more noise. You know, the fact that I can't be out of their sight for any more than 7 minutes before being annoyed to do little things that can wait. But anyway, that's parents for you, I guess. And I don't know where I'd be without them. Well, I do know where I'd be without them. I wouldn't be. So you've got to be grateful. Apologise for this being all over the place. I've lost what I'm at. I'm 500 k's southeast of Adelaide. And by the way, if I mention a place like Port MacDonnell, please open another tab and just go to Google and click on Maps, and then type in PORT space MACDONNELL, Port MacDonnell, and educate yourself about where the place actually is, and find out more about it. It's a great little beachside town. Like I may have said, oh no, I didn't say. There's a place called Mount Shank, which is a dormant volcano. It's got trees all over it and things like that, because it's been dormant for a while. I apologise for that once again. Mount Shank is a volcano. extinct, dormant volcano, and it's a bit of a tourist attraction, really. What else? Port MacDonnell is 40 k's south of a place called Mount Gambier, and tomorrow I'll be catching the bus back to Adelaide, and I've got an appointment with my case manager, and I emailed the guy and said, look, I emailed him last Wednesday. It said, look, I'm going to be away. I'm going to be interstate. Well, not really interstate, but far enough away. 500 k's away is a fair whack. 500 k's away, and I'm not going to be able to make it by 11 o'clock on the Monday, because I come back on the Monday, and I got an appointment reminder telling me I've got to be there. So I'm going to have to ring him up tomorrow and let him know that I'm not going to be there, and to reschedule. And I hope that he does, because if he doesn't, I'll have to report him for being unprofessional, because I sent him an email, and if he doesn't check his email, then that's not my fault. Yes, what else is it? There's a place down here called Narracourt that has, and I think Tantanoola, they have caves, because this is the limestone coast, and limestone is a great place to... limestone's very good for producing fossils and things like that. So it's a great place to find information about prehistoric animals that roamed Australia so many millions of years ago and things like that. And there's a lot of marsupials, like giant kangaroos and wombats and that sort of thing. God. I've only got 8 more minutes, but what else is there? So you can go lobster fishing, or crayfish, not lobster, crayfish. What else? Oh, that's right, I wanted to say that Gaza, who also listens to the show every week, has a series called Ancient Alien Arseholes on YouTube. It's really, really funny. It's a stand-up of ancient aliens, and I've contributed to the series with a video, and I think it's fairly funny. My humour's very dry, and if you just take it as being just silly, and you should get a bit of a laugh out of it. But I can't wait to be able to upload that, or see that uploaded and edited, and I may just I've uploaded my raw footage so that he could access it, but I might release my raw footage after he does his, or maybe I'll just leave it as it is, and maybe share it on Facebook or something like that. But yeah. I had a lot of fun doing it. It took forever for me to do, and I should have done it. I should have had something for Gaza months ago, but luckily the series is going really well. Hang in there with the series. I do want to promote it. And I'd like to, let's see, thank everybody who listens to this. I know people listen to this to sometimes just break the silence, sometimes to distract them from things they've got to do that are hard, and I hope that you do them, like cleaning your fish tank and stuff like that. But of course, as soon as I'm here, they have to annoy me again and again and again. That was another 7 minutes. Yeah. So I got exactly 6 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go. Thank you for listening for this long. I apologise for the unprofessional nature of this, but if I didn't record this now, there wouldn't be a show at all. And I'm early for once, or I'm later than what I should be. But I stayed up till 4:30 this morning, dancing the night away. What else is there? It's probably going to... Meme Busters. This week's Meme Busters, if I didn't mention it before, there was a story about this Australian guy who went to Bali, and there was a spider that had got into an appendix scar and crawled into his stomach and stuff like that. It turns out to be fake. There's quite a few stories that were fake going around Facebook and stuff. But just be on your guard for some of the stuff. But the old Asian, the Australian that goes to Asia and comes home with spiders or something's laid eggs under his skin or whatever it is, they're all bogus. And you think, why do people do that? Why do people put people off travelling to these overseas places? Challenge everything you've been taught. Embrace your fear. Travel overseas if you want to. And I'm running out of things to say. I did have a whole heap of notes written on my netbook that no longer operates. I've been here for 5 days, and I'm really, really, really ready to go home. By the way, I did get a rather large tax return, and so expect higher quality stuff fairly shortly, or at least maybe some music. I can pay a musician, get an intro or something. We'll see what happens. But this show is starting to go really well, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you very much. Let's see, what have we got here? We've got 2 minutes. So what I'll do now, this is the moment that you guys tune in each and every week for. It's today's code word. And today's code word is the word slumber. S-L-U-M-B-E-R, slumber. And also, I hope that when you're listening to this, depending on where you are, that you also have like a web browser open to Google to basically fact check anything that I say here. Don't just accept what I've said. There's a lot of stuff going on in science. There's a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. I hope you all have a happy Halloween if you celebrate it in the USA. We don't really celebrate it much in Australia because we see it as an American tradition, but some people just use it as an excuse to have a bit of a barbecue and a bit of a drinking session, a bit of a party. But yeah, let's see, 1 minute to go. So you've got the code word. You know where to tweet me, SHAIDO. Let me know you've watched the show, or you can email me at shane_lockwood@hotmail.com. I cannot provide any show notes or information just yet. I'd fix it on a computer, but I can't. Apologies for that. I'll have to fix it up Monday. Please let me know what you thought of the show. Give it a like, click love, etc. and subscribe. Add this show to your favourites list. I will be here each and every week, and next week will be a much, much better show. I've got less than 20 seconds. You've been great. I've been great. And take the rest of this week and today easy like a Sunday morn.